Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. This is Raj here. As you can see, I've been experimenting a little bit with the screens. I have been doing this channel for quite a while now, and I also felt that we need something dynamic on the screen, and instead of wasting a lot of time talking about the news, I thought I might put a section for the headline, which is what you're seeing on the top in the white background. And then I also thought that I'll put the indices as they were on the right side, not only for the index, but also for genomic stocks and also where the market is with regard to the index movers. I can include some other things out there if you put anything in the comment. I can include Bitcoin, crypto, and a few other assets out there on the indices section. And also in the bottom, you will notice that I have a small window in which I'm circulating the thumbnails from some of the videos that we have recently released. It's an idea that you might have missed some of those videos, and you may want to see them. So it's a ready reckoner out there. All you have to do is just go back to the homepage of the channel, find that video and click on it. I have not been able to find out a way of allowing you to click right there on the window and get into that video. I think it's a little bit out of my league. But one of the interesting things I would like to tell you is that I have done all this with the help of ChatGPT. I used ChatGPT to create the news headline up there, which is rotating. I used ChatGPT to create the image rotator, which is rotating the thumbnails on the bottom side. So those are two things that I have done with ChatGPT. And also our indices, which are moving, they're also coming through script written by ChatGPT. So I'm a big fan of ChatGPT, and I just hope that it doesn't become a paid service. By the way, today Microsoft also had more information about how they're going to integrate Bing and ChatGPT. So there are going to be two modes. One is the search mode, where there will be an extra information on the right side, which comes from the AI. And that has got much more detailed information and contextual information. And then you can go into a chat mode where it is more or less like ChatGPT, where you have one-on-one conversation with the AI. So it's all looking very interesting. I think we are witnessing the change, a catalytic change that is happening, just like when we started off with the so-called information highway, as they said. It was very difficult to imagine what it would look like. But I think the future looks great. Going forward, I think Microsoft is going to take the initiative, and Bing is likely to become a dominant search engine because Google, I think, has potentially dropped the ball. They are behind, and you can see the reflection in the share prices as well. Google dropped 4% today. Overall, the market was red today, as I predicted yesterday. And for tomorrow also, I'm predicting that we might probably open slightly green, but at the end of the day, we are going to be red. That's my technical analysis. So let's go on and have a look at the indices and do a bit of technical analysis. Well, friends, here we are in the TradingView platform. I'm looking at the Nasdaq Futures, and I can see, I can visualize a potential bullish pennant out here. But as I said, fundamentals always trump technicals. So we'll have to see what is happening in the fundamental side. I'm just going to draw the pennant out here so that you can see what I'm visualizing. I'm going to put the upper side red. That's how I like to do it. And typically, according to the theory, whenever we have a pennant which is on top of an ascending pattern, then it's a bullish pennant, but many times they can fail in case the fundamentals do not support. So fundamentals can change suddenly depending on what happens with a government policy or the Fed announcement or any geopolitical effect. So anything can happen. Right now we are tightly within this pennant, and we have to see what happens tomorrow. This is the Nasdaq Futures charts, my friends, and these are one-day candle each. So each of these candles are one day. And if I zoom out for the bigger context, you can see we were in a bear channel for the longest time, and then we broke out of it somewhere around 20th of January or 23rd of January. And since then, we have been out, and we broke through another level of resistance, and we have come out here at this point of time at 12,569.50. Now, I am thinking that given the fact that there's a mildly positive indication out here for Nasdaq Futures. The futures are indicating a bit of bullishness. I do not know what is the foundation for this bullishness, but that's what it shows me here. And let us go on to look at other indicators. US oil is going up, but I think it's going to stay on top of this diagonal line of support that we have from before. And we need the US oil to consolidate in a range. That is the best thing that could happen in this situation. So I'm going to draw a range out here. So this is the upper limit that I would like to see. And I'm just going to clone this and pull it down. This could be the lower range. So if it oscillates between these two, I'm okay with that. But we'll have to see how it goes, because momentum has picked up and MACD is very close to crossing over to the bullish side. So there is a possibility that oil may go up. QQQ is again forming a pennant, and it's also forming a bullish pennant, but I very much doubt that QQQ is going to go up, at least not tomorrow. Let me draw the other trend line. So I don't think QQQ is going up tomorrow. MACD is bullish, but tending towards the signal line. And momentum is pointed downwards, and it's still above average. So in normal circumstances, I would say that I still have hope that the prices are going to go up. But today I'm making a call again that we are going to go down tomorrow, mainly because I think the fundamentals do not support. And however, if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you can see that post-market, right now when I'm recording, it's 8th of February, 7:47 p.m. in the evening. And the post-market out here shows a positive of 0.24, which means that it has gone up 0.24 points from where it closed today on 8th of February. So I'm thinking that there is still a bullish underpinning out here. But honestly, I don't know what is driving this, except for the exuberance around Microsoft and AI. I cannot think of anything else. And we can't forget that interest rate hikes are going to continue to happen. And that means money is going to be pulled out of the economy. And that should not be a positive sign or a bullish sign for the stock market. So I'm waiting for the realization to happen. But till then, as I said, the market has its own mind. We'll see what happens. S&P 500 dropped 1.09%, and it's still on this bullish track. And it has formed a bearish harami pattern out here, which is a Japanese candlestick. It indicates that it's a negative catalyst. Now, I saw the same pattern in QQQ also, but I forgot to mention to you. You see this big green candle from previous day, and we have a smaller red candle perfectly engulfed within the body of the previous day's green candle. This pattern in Japanese candlestick pattern theory says that it's a bearish harami, means it's a bearish signal. But I have also read elsewhere, I don't remember where, that 53% of the time it works out properly, and the remaining 47% of the time it indicates an upward move in a bullish channel. So I don't know how to make that call, but I'm going to go with the fact that it's a bearish harami, and more than 50% chances that it's going to come down. And let us look at S&P 500, which also has formed a perfect bearish harami. If you can see here, this is the bearish harami. And I'm going to just go out here and say, so as you can see here, this is the bearish harami pattern. This is a perfect textbook bearish harami out here. And this is exactly what we got on QQQ. We got that on S&P 500. In Russell's, it has gone down a bit further, but it's not a bearish sign out there. But again, it's a downward trend, and it could get a support at 191.38. And if you look at Dow Jones now, Dow Jones has attempted to come back into the pennant that it had broken out of earlier. And you can see the momentum is also starting to fall, and MACD is also ready to cross over to the bearish side. And if I was to look at the post-market action, it shows a mildly positive action out here, but I'm still going with the call that tomorrow all these indices are going to go down, and I'm going to look at US dollar index. Friends, I found that the US dollar index symbol that I had out here was not giving me the latest pricing, so I had to go for a different US dollar index. That's why you're seeing a different chart out here, but not to worry, we are going to draw all the trend lines that we need out here so that we'll be able to have a reference point to work with. So this is a channel out here that I'm going to draw it out here, and then I'm going to take this one from here and draw. And this is going to be a red line of resistance. So we have a bearish channel which our stock is, which our US dollar index is trying to break out of. And if you look at the momentum is above average and it has picked up a little. MACD is also pretty strong. So US dollar index is likely to break through above this, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. But that's my gut feel at this point of time, looking at the patterns out here and the strength of the momentum. Momentum is above average. MACD is also absolutely bullish, so it seems more likely that it's going to break through this resistance and go up. The other reason why I say that is that if I was to draw another line from here, then that would seem to look like a bullish pennant to me on an upward trend. So I'm making the call that US dollar index is likely to go up tomorrow. If you look at the established technology companies which move the index, we had Microsoft starting high and coming down. Yesterday when I closed, I said that there'll be some profit taking in Microsoft. The profit taking in Microsoft started later in the day, and still we have reached a stage where people who had bought yesterday also took some profits, because we have got back into the body of yesterday's candle. And if you look at the MACD, it's absolutely bullish, but momentum has started falling down. So tomorrow again, I think we are going to see a little bit of a consolidation in Microsoft, because there are good things going on with Microsoft which doesn't happen with the competitors. For example, if you were to go and look at Google, Microsoft only lost 0.31%, whereas Google lost 7.44%. So I'm thinking that Microsoft is relatively strong, and the money that came out of Google is likely to go into Microsoft. And therefore, I'm expecting Microsoft to consolidate, and I think it will stay above this support line of 259.95. Next, let us look at Apple, which is down 1.77%. And again, we have this gap up which has to be filled out. And I'm looking at MACD, which is bullish but tending towards the signal line, and momentum also, which is pointed downwards after being overheated. So I'm expecting Apple to consolidate a little bit tomorrow, but it's definitely not going up. And another reason why I would like to believe that it's not going up is because we have a perfect bearish Harami signal out here. We had a bullish Harami signal before that, and now we have a bearish Harami signal. So I think we are going to go down tomorrow for Apple. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon again is on a downward path. Its momentum has fallen significantly. MACD has already crossed over towards the bearish side. So I'm seeing Amazon also going down tomorrow. Google is also going down tomorrow, because you can see how fast the momentum has dropped, and the MACD is also turned towards the signal line very aggressively. So tomorrow it's likely to cross over to the other side. But probably in the morning, there'll be a bit of bottom fishing out here, and that might take the price up. It may open positive, and then probably later during the day, it might likely go down. That's my feeling. And next I'm going to look at genomics, and I have already sorted the genomics out here, and the biggest loser was DNA, and DNA is getting support at 1.82. I'm looking at buying DNA somewhere close to 1.79 or 1.69. That's the price range that I'm looking at, but ideally I would like to buy it somewhere around 1.59, because the upside opportunity is much higher. So I'm definitely expecting tomorrow for SQZ Biotech to fall down, DNA to fall down further, because our momentum has fallen below average, and MACD is ready to cross over to the bearish side. So that's my expectation. And there has been a little bit of positive catalyst out here a couple of days ago, which says Ginkgo Bioworks and BioVeg working together to produce new variants of cellulose. Financial terms of the partnership were not disclosed. So DNA generally does not disclose much of the details of financial details of the partnership. That's a common complaint everywhere. But it's supposed to develop a cost-effective way of making cellulose, so it's a very positive catalyst. But we have been falling, and the overall market sentiment is negative, so it's likely to come down further. Illumina has fallen a big time. It has fallen 7.99%. As I told you yesterday, because of the earnings miss, it was going to fall, and it did fall. Now, the way I look at it, I think it's going to fall a little more, but tomorrow morning it might open positive because of bottom fishing, and then it may fall a little bit, and then potentially consolidate because MACD has already become bearish, and momentum is below average. Editas was down 7.84%, and it has filled the gap up nicely, and it is most likely it's going to be bouncing off the MACD is looking bullish, but it's tending towards the signal line. Momentum is dropping sharply. It needs to reverse. But at this point of time, it looks like we're going to open negative tomorrow. And PACB was down 7.73%. It has broken downwards on the bullish pennant, friends. As I told you before, fundamentals trump technicals. So PACB has its earnings coming up, and it has some news out here. PACB to expand mass sequencing technology to 16 sRNA and bulk RNA sequencing solutions. This is a positive catalyst from yesterday, and there is a negative catalyst as well. Pacific Biosciences of California prices upsized 175 million common stock offering. This news came out on 25th, and there was a deadline of up to 27th to complete this offering. And the underwriters have got further option to take some more shares. So I think all of those things are moderating the strength of PACB. We have seen the momentum also drop, and we have seen MACD also become bearish. So our next catalyst is going to be the earnings. If they have a earnings per share of better than minus 0.36, and if they have a revenue better than 26.203, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get back into the pennant and then move upwards. So right now it is the pre-earning jitters. So I would expect everything to consolidate, and this particular green line is going to be marked red now, and that will act as a resistance. And we are continuing to get support from 10.37 where we halted today. So that's what I have for PACB. Next, look at Beam. We got a drop of 7.60% in Beam, and it stopped exactly at the diagonal line of support. But MACD is looking ready to cross over to the bearish side, and also momentum has dropped to average. So I'm thinking that Beam may probably open a little positive in the morning, but it's going to go down. I don't see any major catalyst for Beam out here. Let me look at the news to see if they have anything. There is no new news in Beam, so I'm not expecting anything major out here. Let us see how well this diagonal line of support holds. I think we are going to break down that down below that today. Verve was down 6.38%. 6.88% actually, and let me look at the news. There is no new news for Verve, and it was stopped at the resistance of 22.47, which was earlier a support. So 22.47 where it stopped, and we have strong support at 20.82 because we have been in the 20.82 range from 19th of January onwards. So this seems to be a strong support. So there's a swing trading opportunity out here if someone were to buy it here. And look at selling it around 22.65. Of course, there is a risk involved. This is not a financial advice. This is just my thoughts that I'm talking about, friends. You got to do your own due diligence. And at this point of time, with the market the way it is, I think it will be very risky. Next, let's go on to Allogene, which was down 6.75%. Again, perfectly stopped by the diagonal line of support. Momentum has fallen below average, and MACD is just about ready to cross over the signal line. And in terms of news, they have no new news out here, and they are coming up with the earnings on Thursday, which is 23rd of February 2023. So they are a few days away, and they need to meet EPS of minus 0.70 and a revenue of 65.308K. If they do better than that, then they'll pick up. Otherwise, they're going down. Bluebird was down 6.75%. And if you look at news, There is no new news out here since January. They have the earnings coming up on 22nd February. If I look at the MACD, it's ready to cross over to the signal line. Momentum has already fallen below average. So I'm seeing Bluebird going down a little bit. I think it's high time they disclose some patient information for sickle cell disease, Zynteglo, how many they have done. And also another reason why Bluebird might be going down is also because CRISPR Therapeutics is rapidly advancing towards getting monetization for its sickle cell disease therapy, which is in FDA clinical trials. It could get approved very soon. So that's also another factor out here. Of course, Bluebird also has SkySona, which CRISPR doesn't have. And they need to give us some news about SkySona, whether they have been able to tie up with any payees, and whether they are coming up with any kind of money back guarantee and stuff like that, so that we can also feel confident that Bluebird is going to be able to go ahead. They have also raised equity recently, so that is diluted. They have diluted the equity shares. So overall, that's what is keeping Bluebird range bound at this level. For them to break through this and go above 6.44, which is the level of resistance now, they need to give us some information. Invitae was down 6.05%, and this cup and handle is totally gone, and we are pushed down by a resistance of 2.56, and we have a support of 2.15. Let me look at the news out here. Yesterday, we had news which says Invitae Corporation on February 7 prepaid $550 million in principal, or $135 million in principal outstanding under secured credit facility. Friends, we know that it's a high interest regime right now. So any interest that the company pays is going to be high. So I was looking at Invitae's financial statement as of November 8, 2022. I think their long-term debt is around 1.75 billion, and their equity is around 158.87 million. So if I divide 1.75 billion by 153.87 million, that gives me a debt equity ratio of 11.3%. With the latest repayment of 50 million, the debt equity ratio will improve a little bit, and it takes it to around 10.9%. It's a marginal improvement, but still it's an improvement. Debt equity ratio ideally should not exceed 1. That means if you have $1,000 debt, you should have at least $1,000 of assets. That's equity. That's the way I look at it. But 11 means they are 11 times more. The leverage is very high. The financial leverage is very high. That can give extraordinary profits to the shareholders if it was a profitable company. But when there is a loss, this is very, very difficult on the shareholders, because a bulk of the payment goes towards meeting, bulk of the income goes towards meeting the interest. So I think the paying off of 50 million is a positive, as long as it's not coming at the cost of slowing down the operations or new business opportunity. So that's how I would characterize this. So it's a positive news. So Invitae should improve slightly, but I don't think the market is so perfect that it can respond to these minor changes in fundamentals. So I'll leave it at that. Fate was down 5.56%, and it's going through some difficult times. I don't see the chart being strong at all. Fate is likely to fall down further. And if you look at Caribou Biosciences, it's down 4.35%. Again, it's still on the bullish line of support. It's going to fall down further because momentum is below average. MACD is ready to cross over the signal line. And CRISPR Therapeutics was down 4.09%. But I am of the opinion that CRISPR will definitely respect this diagonal line of support, the bullish line of support. And the reason I'm saying that is because this whole bullishness that we see out here, it's coming out of the fact that we have the sickle cell therapy coming very close to fruition. I'm going to come up with a separate video on CRISPR Therapeutics, because elsewhere Vertex has also come out with information about what they are planning to do with the sickle cell disease therapy. So there is a lot of excitement out there in Vertex as well as in CRISPR. So that's going to reflect in the share prices. I'm pretty sure that even if the market is bearish at this point of time, many people who are looking at CRISPR will get in at every dip. That's my expectation. And that's why I'm thinking that whatever happens in the market tomorrow, CRISPR Therapeutics is most likely to stay above this bullish line of support. Then Bio-Nanogenomics was down 4%, and it's going to go down further. MACD is also bearish, and momentum is also below average. And if I look at Intelia, Intelia was down 3.82% yesterday. MACD is tending towards the signal line. Momentum is also dropping, but it's still above average. There is no new news out here. And we have earnings coming up on 15th of March 2023. It's a long way out. So Intelia also doesn't have any major catalyst coming up at this point of time, to the best of my knowledge. So it's likely to consolidate and maybe gradually fall down. And we have a line of resistance out here at 43.64. That will be the first challenge for tomorrow. And I'm going to make this line a bit thick for those who are looking at it from a smaller device. So right now we are below this red line, and I think this red line is going to push us down tomorrow. And if you look at SQs at biotech, it's still got a problem of the Nasdaq notice. It's at 0.81. It's nowhere near where it should be. It should be at least $1 for it to remain listed. So I think anytime now they have to declare a reverse split, and that would make the share worth 1.6, or the way they decide, if it's going to be 3 shares into one, then it could be 3 times as much. So we'll have to wait and see what happens out there. And IMATIX is down 1.83%, and it's being held firmly below by 8.80, which is the resistance. And again, the momentum is just at average, and MACD is also moving towards the signal line. With the overall sentiment being what it is, and the lack of any new news out here, I'm thinking that IMATIX is also going to decline. Well, friends, that brings me to the end of the video today. And as you can see, it's very difficult to make a call. I think that we need to be bearish at this point of time, but market can be a bit exuberant. We can't control those things. But from my perspective, I think we might probably open up a little green, because yesterday we had a big drop. And I think after a little bit of green in the morning, it's going to go back to red because fundamentals are weak. And of course, the economy has added a lot of employment. But our major problem, as far as the Fed is concerned, is inflation. So if there is bumper employment, then there is so many people with money to spend. So the demand is going to skyrocket, and as a result of which you're going to have inflation. And so I expect the Fed to be hawkish. That's the underlying theme of everything that I'm saying. I might be totally wrong, but that's what I feel like. So please exercise your own due diligence. My call is that tomorrow we might open slightly green on some counters, especially like Microsoft and CRISPR, but then we'll start going back into the red, or we may open higher and then start coming down, so it's a red candle. So that's what I predict. You guys take care, and the screen that I have made here is going to undergo further improvements. Right now it's looking a bit rough on the edges, but with every subsequent session it's going to start looking much better and professional. So please guys, put your comments below and let me know what you think about the new design, and whether I should attempt to do these things, or you just like the vanilla approach that we had before. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye for now.